And we're back here once again with another episode of the MSK show, and this is going to be episode 425. So I hope you guys had a great day, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your week that is ahead of you. And in this episode of the MSK show, well, I don't actually have a dedicated topic for this episode of the MSK show. Most likely, we're probably just going to EFAP one of 3C Films' video where he talks about the news anyway, and we'll just kind of give our opinions when I'm, playing that video for us to EFAP, actually, because on Mondays, I work late in the afternoon and I get off kind of late in the night. So right when I get home to do this show for you guys, I'm already burnt out. So like conjuring up a topic and actually wanting to, give my energy to it, I got to be in a really good mood for that, Now, to be fair, I've did it for pretty much going on almost 2 years now. But, some nights I look at it like this. A lot of people are like, MSK, I want to be in your position. I want to be the boss of the show. No one wants to be the boss, guys. But
who tells you that?
Nobody.
His imaginary friends, man.
People are always like, it's so much easier being the boss. No, it's actually not. It's crazy how someone will be so retarded and they'll tell me some things and I'm like, dude, the reason why I'm not taking your opinion seriously is I know you're full of shit. So here's a common one I always see amongst people. They always say stupid shit like this, and it always goes the same exact way every single time I phrase this. Your show only has 5 viewers. Okay, well, since my show has 5 viewers, and let's just say it hypothetically does or doesn't matter. It could have less, it could have more. It doesn't matter what I'm going to say after this because the number is inconsequential. How about you start a channel? How about you start a podcast? And then you show me how to get these viewers, actually. Since it's so easy, how about you show me how it's done? And then when you actually do it, then I'll listen to you. But until then, how about you shut the fuck up and you listen to me? I've been in this stuff for God knows since I was like literally in a diaper, actually. There's various things I don't know about stuff. Like I would never talk about like Star Trek because, that's kind of like for losers, honestly. But
Hey.
I know, yeah.
I love Star Trek, man. Come on.
Or
well,
like
I loved it when it used to be Star Trek.
Yeah, well, I mean, anything, Post Enterprise, not really, but
most people call it gay Trek now because it's so many gay. Might as well call these like gay wars at this point now. But and I told people this, I don't even care if we have like 3 live viewers. Like I just love doing this because I just like talking to people on the show. We talk about the topic of the week. That's it. Like whether you watched or not is inconsequential anyway, because my numbers on the replay on the show are already high. So people are watching it, whether it's live or when it's not live. But I just find it funny how people make fun of people. And even if I don't like certain streamers or whatever, I'll never knock someone for having an audience. Like that does take a lot to get an audience, whether you get it by luck or whether you get it by hard grinding, But it's always the people that are telling you it's easy. You would fold in a week if you were in my position doing this for an hour. Come on, guys. This is not, I had to learn how to do this like by myself. Like you have to learn how to have conversations. So like, okay, when Joel's going to talk, I'm just going to listen. Then Joe doesn't talk. After he's done talking, Bob starts talking. A lot of people, when they're talking and doing this, to like interrupt each other. They're not even getting a coherent thought out because they're not actually listening. This is something I had to tell people when you're going to be on the show. Like, the reason why arguments start on shows is because people aren't listening. It's like when you're talking to someone and then before you're even starting to speak, like they're trying to speak because they're not actually trying to listen to you. They just want to say what they're trying to say, So that's why I've had like less people on the shows, because the reason why you have better fluid conversations is because when someone's talking, I go, okay, now I understand your position. I might not agree, or maybe I do agree, but at least I understand where you're coming from. You ever seen like on other shows where it's like there's 5 people and it's just they're all talking? It's like the reason why you can't communicate properly. There's too many people talking. There's just too much chaos going on, and there has to be a coherent level of thought process you have when it comes to this stuff. The reason why I know half of you would fold is because half of you can't even have a coherent thought. Actually, I'll ask you an opinion about something, because on a podcast you have to have a long form opinion about what we're talking about. So let's say we're talking about, I don't fucking know, insert random movie that just came out, Brave New World. Most of you would just say like this: how do you feel about Brave New World? Oh, I thought it was bad. Why? Oh, I just thought it was bad. Why? It's not that good. That's not good enough for a show. You would fail. Like I would flunk you. If it was a test, I'd flunk the shit out of you. That's not how you have a conversation with people. That's actually just what I would not want in the show. How people are entertained is, okay, this part in Brave New World worked for me. Bob goes, it just didn't work for me. Then we have a conversation about what could have worked, what could have been better. That's how it goes. I know most of you wouldn't hack it in this world because most of you have never thought your actual thoughts through. The best way to make your podcast better, I ask this a lot, you need to actually think about why you think the way you do and actually expand on your process of thinking. Now, do you improve? Or do you go, you know what? Let me kind of expand on my process of thinking. So, even me myself, I'm not perfect either. I'll go, you know what? I thought I knew a lot about this topic, and then I'll look it up. Like last week, a lot of people were like, wait a minute, MSK, those Batman movies that came out, the Joel Schumacher and the Tim Burton ones, they were going to get worse? Yeah, they were going to get worse. You people were read what Triumph was, that was going to be garbage. That wasn't going to get better. It was actually going to get progressively worse. But a lot of people don't actually know that because, how thought processes and how like movies go. Usually when there's no movies in a franchise anymore, a lot of people just kind of just forget they exist. There's a reason why on YouTube there's videos of like people explaining like production and all that stuff because the average person just doesn't get that stuff. Like, why do you think you want Rotten Tomatoes? An average person is just going to go, great movie, 5 out of 5 stars. The average person isn't technically thinking about and expanding upon every single thought in your mind when it's going to a scene. For me, I did this so long, like I can explain to you why I liked the scene, why I didn't like a scene, and but just kind of going over why most average people wouldn't hack it. Actually, fun fact, do people actually know this? Most podcasts don't last past 10 episodes.
Well, I believe that. I'll tell you this, MSK. First off, I never thought I would say this, but I actually agree with you on a point. That I didn't realize how tough this was until I started getting into this stuff and started doing, streaming and actually making my own videos and stuff. I didn't realize how much work actually went into it. Once I started doing it, I built a whole new appreciation for it.
Yeah, like even when I was doing, well, I would say my pre-crisis era that I don't talk about, I had to learn all this stuff. Like, what's the best way of it also explaining to an average person? So when you're doing this, since people want to be entertained, you also have to bring an interesting personality to your own show. People like mine, people like yours, people like his. Why? Because you're actually giving them what they otherwise wouldn't be able to do. That's what you have. But conversation flows with, so like I would never talk about something that I don't know what I'm talking about because that would just be obviously stupid, right?
Yeah.
But there are people that do that. I don't do that. I'm never going to talk about something that I don't have any knowledge of. And people that do that, I'm like, why? And I can understand why certain podcasts only have 10 episodes because when you talk about other little niches, you can't be going like hundreds and hundreds of episodes. And that's why I always tell everyone here, whether you're on a panel with me, whether you're on a one-on-one, I do truly appreciate you coming on because I'm able to have my show essentially 5 days a week, actually 7 days a week sometimes. There's other people out there that only can have their show once every week, twice a month, maybe once a month, actually. So yeah, I'm actually in a very good position where I can have my show essentially every day of the week, actually. And people always ask, do I get burnt out? No, I've never gotten burnt out on any of that shit. What would burn me out is work. Just getting off. It's like you'll get off on a ship. You'll be all prepped for a podcast in your head. You're like, I'm going over this point, that point. You get home, you're like, wow, I just want to lay down and
just think about all the bad things that happened at work and somebody who annoyed you and the drive home and it's not easy. It's not easy.
Yeah, it's always like that because even if someone were to tell me the most absolute bullshit, what's crazy? I respect people that can do that. Even if I were to disagree with someone about what a movie was, at least if you can give me like a coherent thought as to why you didn't enjoy it, I'll be fine with that. But if you're on a show and you're like, why didn't you like, I don't know, Captain Marvel? Well, because it was bad. I mean, all right, that's pretty obvious. Anything else? No. Well, that show would be over. That's a 2-minute show. All right, guys, time to head out. My wife is pregnant right now. She wants me to, go and throw out a window. Goodbye. Just making all the excuses, actually. Okay. To be fair, in my opinion, this is true, but not in the reality that you're thinking of it, okay? MSK, that's a lie. You talk about sex and women all the time, so you're clearly comfortable with things. Oh, my God.
Well, he's got a point. So.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm retired off women. I'm just done with them. I'm absolutely done with them. You guys don't even need to know what I've been through these past couple of weeks with women. I'm done. I'm retired. Just sex and leave. That's all you need.
Did you actually have to start working in order to retire? I don't think
Yeah,
you've
I
ever
wish I
actually
could
Are you
say
started
implying that I
working.
don't work because I'm black? That's also
No, I'm
partly
implying
true.
that you've never actually been working in that area with women and sex. So
Like, good lord, dude. Women are the worst, man. At least with guys, it's a long, drawn out thing if someone has a problem with you. Women is so just like one day they love you, the next day, literally the next day, they're just gone. They'll just block you, or they're just gone from your life. They don't even care about you. You'll see them randomly in a store. They'll look at you. You'll look back at them, and they'll look back at you with that face of like, yeah, I probably don't want to talk to this guy because I kind of fucked him over. Yeah, I know. That's just kind of how I've seen things throughout my entire life. Or people will look at you and go, oh, hey, how you doing? Hello. I remember you when you were 5. Yeah, it's been 30 years. The fuck? Was I supposed to just stay that young my whole life? But yeah, just crazy things that always happen, But with guys, I've noticed that if you have a problem with a guy, you won't talk about it, but you'll still kind of be around each other. But eventually, you'll talk through it. Women are not like that, I'm done. I'm just officially retired. I'm just done. I hate life at this point.
Well,
But
when it
then,
comes,
Go
I
ahead.
was going to say, MSK, when it comes to you and women, just that old saying is fake it until you make it. So just keep faking it, keep making up stuff, say whatever, and someday
will say this:
it'll happen for you.
when people tell me that Tom King isn't getting work because his mom is an executive at Warner Brothers, all right, guys, just okay. This is how I know the average person is really stupid. In life, there's this thing called what he just said: fake it till you make it. Or there's the other one that people know, where it's not about what you know, it's about who you know. Guys ever heard of that saying? What that means is, even if you were at a business where it was fast food, anything, any business, a person that is a family member will always have a better chance of getting that job over you. So if you want to tell me to my face, and keep a straight face with it, that his mom doesn't influence him getting stuff, I know you do not live life, and I know you are currently living at home with your mom where she pays your cell phone bill. There's no way I could believe that. I'm sorry. I just don't believe that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he gets some things based off his own merit that people like. Sure. But there's no way his mom doesn't have an influence on things he gets. You would have to be so naive. I feel like that's the problem with the internet now. People have not lived enough of life and are telling people that have this naive bullshit that we've already gone over. We already gotten over this stuff when we were younger. I know that's naive. I respect you for having that opinion. I wish I could be that naive. But that's not how life works, though. Seriously, if I'm a mom and I want the best for my son, why wouldn't I use my leverage at my job to get him something? That's just what any mom would do. And I don't fault her for that if she is doing that,
Well, I think that's the case, though, just period. I mean, I had a drill sergeant once tell us, look, nobody gets ahead in this world without a little bit of help somewhere.
That's true.
So,
Heard the thing, too.
I mean,
yeah.
At some point, somebody that helped you out along the way.
That's true. Hey, that's how the MCU was. That's the model that Kevin Feige wanted us to understand through all these many years. It's not about the movies. It's about the friends you made.
The friends you made along the way.
All those friends we initially met are dead and killed and retired, but it's okay. Model still works. So we'll do intros really quickly, and then we'll just talk for, I guess, a little bit longer. So with Bob, how you doing, man? You weren't here last week. You left me for my dad.
Yeah, exactly. I had some stuff pop up with some family. I couldn't be here last week, but doing pretty good. Actually, last Tuesday, you were talking about the number of episodes. We actually had our 100th episode of Dad's Turn to Talk.
Oh, it's awesome.
So that was pretty good. We had Blaine from Criticless on. We had Lily on, and we had Ben Rock, who was the production designer on the Blair Witch Project. We had him on.
Oh, cool.
He's been on the show a couple of times, so it was fun to have him on. And then we
got to put him in a connection with him, do a whole.
Then we had another friend of the show who was on. It was a good group. We were actually talking Raiders of the Lost Ark, so that was a lot of fun. Figured an epic movie for an epic show. So we had a good time.
That's good.
But it was weird just looking back at our first 100 episodes, because we actually kind of picked some of our favorite moments to kind of look back at, and just kind of how far we've come, as well as some of the stupid things that we've done on the show. So it was that was a lot of fun. But otherwise, doing good. Also, just got back to work this weekend. I was out on vacation, as well as I caught the coof.
Oh, God.
So I was out for a few days with that. But the one positive was that my scheduled vacation that I had turned from a 5-day vacation into like a 9-day vacation. So that was kind of nice.
That's
Yeah,
cool. Okay.
So,
Joe, how you doing, man? How was your day been?
Today's all right. I've been doing all right. Last week, I don't know if you remember, but I had that terrible back pain.
What happened? Are you okay now?
Yeah, I'm a lot better. Last week, it was so bad. I had a bulging disc or something. I
Good
don't know.
Lord. Why are you so old? What happened to
I
you?
know it sucks, and just time. It keeps going on, and but other than that, everything's good. Bob, you were talking about creating your channel. I've been working on one since last year, and I've been doing some video work. I haven't gone live yet, and the biggest problem is time because I work, I do freelance. I've written a couple books. I got another book in the hopper, and sometimes you just sit down and you go, do I want to record? And I've probably got about I don't know, 15 videos sitting there to me to redo and look at it. And half the time I'm like, oh my gosh. But yeah, I'm just still working on that a bit. I'm hoping to go live, and I don't know. I set a goal of June 1st, but hopefully that happens. But the company I do freelance work for just gave me a whole bunch of work, which means money. So it's kind of hard to pass up. So
Right. Yeah.
but other than that, everything's good. I mean, watched a terrible Super Bowl.
Well, that's an
Didn't win any
understatement.
money because I didn't bet on anything.
I'll be honest here. If anyone, that was the easiest bet was to say the Seahawks win. Actually, we can transition into talking about the Super Bowl because if you guys don't know, me and Chaz will be covering it tomorrow on the Cloud9 podcast anyway, a little bit more extensively, going by the game and everything like that. But I actually don't want to talk about the game initially. I want to go over the narrative of this Bad Bunny thing. So here's the thing, guys. Just to point out here, this is me personally. I don't care if the music is in a different language on a certain aspect, because I think a lot of people like different forms of music, whether they weren't even in the same language that they're born and native to, right? An example of this would be, I'll say this. I've been to you guys have been to those Hispanic parties in your neighborhood where they invite you over a little bit and they're playing these Spanish songs. I don't know what the hell that shit is saying. I don't. That shit sounds damn good, though. That shit sounds great, honestly. I listen to anime openings for some of my favorite anime. That shit is not English. You have to actually look up. You would have to actually go watch the videos that they're in, and you actually have to put subtitles on to know what the actual lyrics are saying. And I have for a lot of them, and they're actually very good. So I don't think it's about the actual music itself. I think it's about, is this the right time to have this kind of performer at this event? That's what matters is, hey, could this have been someone else? And I honestly could have just did a little bit of a much better performance, though, because I've seen halftime shows that are good. I've seen, actually, a few years ago, didn't Usher do one? He was very good.
Yeah,
honestly, I can't remember the last halftime show I enjoyed. So, for me, it had nothing to do with Bad Bunny personally, or that the music was in Spanish. I mean, they can't blame people for not wanting to watch it because of all the lyrics were going to be in Spanish. I mean, they can't really be upset about that. But, I think it turned into a bigger thing than what it needed to be. And a lot of that has to do with, statements that the artist made. And so, of course, it became more than what it is. For me personally, I just had no interest in Bad Bunny because I don't particularly listen to his music or anything. I don't really speak the language, so I can't really understand. I mean, I understand more than what I speak, but not enough. When it's going that fast to where I can understand. So I had no interest in it to begin with. But to be fair, I don't have interest in a lot of the halftime shows. I actually watched the Turning Point USA one simply because that was more in line with what I like musically. So so for me, that's what I watched. I would like to see more variety because to me, a lot of the acts seem the same year in and year out.
Yeah, and that's because Jay-Z.
I'd like to see some country. I'd like to see more rock. I'd like to see a mix, not just hip hop every year, or not, and then they throw in a Bad Bunny this year. I want to see a little bit more variety. Also, I don't like the huge spectacle of the Super Bowl halftime show because it gets so much that it's difficult on what to focus on. Not that it doesn't look cool, but I kind of prefer. I like my favorite halftime show, for instance, was U2's halftime show. I thought that was my favorite one. It was one band, and it had a patriotic element because it was right after 9/11, but it was one band. Also, the Michael Jackson one, Prince. These are ones where it was a single artist that was the focus. Those are the ones I tend to gravitate more towards because it's easier to focus on that than this artist is popping up and then that one's coming up, and then it's just so much that it's just kind of like, all right, for me personally. But those that love it, great. That's just for me.
Yeah, and I've told people this too. I think his reception would have been better if he didn't say this and it went like this. You're gonna need to learn Spanish to understand my music. There are certain things where even if they're not talking about politics, some of these people just put their foot in their mouth. Why are you saying that? Even though apparently this person was born in America and has been American his whole life, which is he's from Puerto Rico.
He's from Puerto Rico, yeah.
From Puerto Rico, but like, lived his whole life here. It's like, the thing is, people need to learn this thing that you should learn in life growing up is like time and a place. There is a time and a place to say certain things. Keep in mind, if he had not said that and just performed, I think people may have been a little bit more welcoming to it. But to say that in this current climate is like, dude, that's already a turnoff. He quite literally said word for word, you have to learn Spanish to understand my music. There's people out there. I listen to a lot of music that isn't even like English or native language. Actually, some of my favorite music ever is just hearing like you hear a theme or a score and you just play that. There's people that literally listen to music without even it lyrically being there. So I don't think it's the language, but I also don't think that the Super Bowl halftime show was the perfect place for that. It's not, actually. If you want to have this guy headline the Grammys or whatever, sure, because that is to celebrate music. The halftime show should be like an all-encompassing American thing because that's the biggest event of the year. I just don't think he's the right performer for that kind of thing, because the last few years, they've had some pretty decent ones, like the Kendrick Lamar one last year. Even though I don't really like that song that much, the spectacle of what he was doing was good, actually. I actually enjoyed what they put on. Usher did a pretty good one. Lady Gaga, who went on the field, she did a good one not too long ago. Usher did a good one not too long ago. So they're just picking bad people. Like Chris Brown literally being there would have made it better. He's just a better singer. I heard a Bad Bunny. Remember? Oh, good Lord. Remember when Sony had their universe and they announced they were going to do this movie called El Muerto?
Yeah. It was supposed to be Bad Bunny.
It was supposed to be Bad Bunny. They canceled it because, well, that was going to make this much dollars at the box office. Zero. Yeah. That was the only way I heard of that guy. Keep in mind, I want to understand, like, Milk Toast brought up opera in there. Guys, there's like soundtracks and scores I'll listen to that is not English. I truly don't believe it's based off of not understanding the lyrics. That's just not the right time for that. You know what I mean? That's just not what people are going there for. You're paying, I heard these tickets were $6,000. You want to pay $6,000, right? $6,000, probably flying to Vegas, gambling, hotel room, food, all that stuff. You probably want to hear some music that you could understand and follow to and maybe dance to next to your friends. And that's not a bad thing. That doesn't make someone racist, though. You know, didn't people like in Fast Five, there was those two guys called Danza Kuro, who had that song at the end, you know? They're not American. People like that song. Oh, you want to know why they're also not hated? Because they didn't put them in the halftime show. It's just, that's the problem with Jay-Z. Jay-Z headlines that stuff, and he is just, come on, we haven't had a white person perform at the halftime show in like 7 years. Well, Eminem, obviously, but it's like maybe 6 years, right? It's crazy, you know? So
this is Jay-Z is the one that books all this talent now, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, you know, he's been doing that now for all this time, and they brought him in. I think a lot of that has to do with the post George Floyd stuff, and they wanted to be more social with their commentary, and which is fine. The thing with Bad Bunny, though, I mean, I watched it. Like Bob said, there was so much going on; it was hard to focus.
Yeah,
they have some symbolism, and you know, hate beats love thing, and you know, it's everything becomes political because all these people got to constantly politicize everything. And if they just roll somebody out and they do a show, it'd be so much better. But then, you know, Trump came out and said, well, why don't they have an American? Well, he is an American, and they complained. And then, so everybody hates Trump, jumped all over that. And then I think a lot of people are pretending they liked it more than they did just because Trump didn't like it. And I think there's a lot of people who just say they hate it just because Trump was out there saying they hate it.
Right.
And I thought it was okay, but there's a lot of nice looking women. There's fun dancing. I think Lady Gaga is a tremendous performer. She was cool. Ricky Martin.
She's a good performer. Yeah, she's definitely has
got an outstanding voice.
Yeah.
So it didn't bother me, but like Bob said, there's so much going on. Everything's running around, and they, you know, and you're trying to catch the symbolism, and it's just too busy for was it like a 20-minute show. But I think the Michael Jackson one was to me the best, and Prince. Paul McCartney had a great one.
Yeah, I remember that one. That one was good too.
And then I really liked the Dr. Dre, Eminem, and those guys. Oh man, it was like 4 or 5 years ago. I thought that was pretty cool. So, you know, that's a lot of fun. And to be honest with you, when the halftime hits, you usually go get more snacks and go to the bathroom. But I sat and watched that one because I knew everyone was going to be talking about it, and I thought it was fine. I didn't know what he's talking about. And I only heard of Bad Bunny because he was in wrestling. So
I only heard of him because of that bad.
I'm the same way. That's the only reason I've heard of him.
I only heard of him because of that bad Sony, that fucking random Sony movie they announced, that Spider-Man villain universe. Like, there was another bad one that happened some years ago. Remember the Rihanna one where she was like 6 months pregnant? They're having her like dance.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it was disgusting and gross. Like Jay-Z is the worst person to headline most of that crap. Yeah. And keep in mind, this for me, when people keep saying, well, it's the music, I don't know. Because you go to a lot of parties and there's people playing all different. Go to like a bar, go to a club. There's people playing a bunch of different songs you don't know the lyrics to. I don't think it's actually just the music. I don't think it's that. I think a lot of people listen to different kinds of music. You've been a lot of, you listen to probably Spanish music a lot. I don't know what that shit says. Oh, damn it, Bob. Post my freaking.
Look, just because I'm Hispanic doesn't mean I listen to a lot of Hispanic music. I listen to mostly rock. That's why I was saying I'd like to see some more variety. I'd like to see some rock in there. I'd like to see, even some country in there.
Or K-pop.
Because like you said, Jay-Z books a lot of the same types of acts. Yeah. And so I'd like to see something a little different in there. Also, back to what you said about the remark Bad Bunny made about, you need to learn Spanish to learn my lyrics. What he could have said is, you know what? My show is going to be in Spanish because that's the type of music I sing. And I hope this is an opportunity for people to appreciate the culture and the music that we make. He could have said it that way, and it would have been a lot more accepted. It was the way it was said, along with the political climate and everything, and so that took what he said and probably made it worse than what it actually was.
Yeah, right.
And like I said, for me personally, I just had no interest in it because I'm not a fan of Bad Bunny. And it's not anything that he said or anything. For me, it was just, I just got no interest in it.
Yeah. And I'm not disagreeing, but that sentiment, what if someone just doesn't like, not just his music? I don't really just care for this guy. Is that not allowed in music anymore? I have to like this person. It's like, no, there's plenty of black artists I couldn't give 3 flying fucks for any race, honestly, not just specifically him. I just think the reason why people are calling it like a political thing is because the whole ICE thing is going on, and they just so happen to select a Puerto Rican performer at the halftime show. Come on, it's not rocket science. Put 2 and 2 together with this stuff. It's like obviously that was selected to garner a lot more viewers. And you talk about the Turning Point USA show. When I hear people say things like this, my brain just eviscerates. It starts evaporating. And I start going, you know what? Maybe the average person I'm dealing with on the internet literally is a fucking retard. Okay, people, the Super Bowl is the biggest event of the year. It will have more viewers and views than anything that day. It's like when it's like when one of those singing competitions has their season finale, like American Idol or the what's the one? The other one, fucking hell. The Voice. Yeah. Any singing, this is actually a rule in TV. Don't premiere a new show when a singing show is about to end or has an episode going or when a sports event's going on. Want to know why? Because your show will not get viewers. Just what it is, right? So when you have the Super Bowl, which has been a mainstay in mainstream media as a big finale event for, good Lord, longer than I've been alive, it's always going to have the most attention that day. People buy a lot of ad space for it, millions of dollars in ad space for it. So when people are saying, well, Turning Point USA's event didn't have as many viewers, it's like, that's not a gotcha. That's, it'd be crazy. I would be surprised if it didn't for the Super Bowl have more viewers than that. That would be bad on the Super Bowl if it can't beat a random conservative organization's event. Also, this notion that it was just, because I saw them both. I don't think they were like okay in my opinion at best. I think there's aspects to both that were decent, right? But this notion that Turning Point USA doing it was bad, half the people complaining have always been saying this. Why don't we have our own thing? Well, here is your own thing. No, that's not good enough.
Yeah,
then what do you really want then?
Like, to me, to me, it was successful just that they had the viewership that they
Right,
had,
yeah.
which I thought was pretty good given the fact that you had the Super Bowl going on. Now, you already had several people saying that they weren't going to watch Bad Bunny to begin with, and
Right.
that again goes back to not just Bad Bunny. You have a lot of people year in and year out and say, I'm not interested in this particular halftime show. So to have an alternative, I think that that's a good thing. Is it going to ever get to the level of the Super Bowl? No, it's not. And anybody who says otherwise is fooling themselves.
Disingenuous.
It's not
Yeah,
going to.
yeah.
The Super Bowl halftime show, the amount of money and work that they put into that, it is always going to trump everything else. Walter made a point about the set designs that go into them. I mean, they're incredible what they put into it.
They are. Yeah.
So you can't deny that. So just for those reasons alone, it's going to have eyes on it. Period. Mm-hmm. And nothing Turning Point USA was going to change that. Now, if they were able to take some of the audience away, then good for them. That means they put up something that somebody wanted to watch, and they got an audience for them.
Apparently
good for them, because I watched it. Because again, that was more what I was interested in. Again, it had nothing to do with Bad Bunny. It had to do with me that I just wasn't interested. I went somewhere where I was. And thank you for having an alternative. But I'm also not going to be foolish and naive coming out saying Turning Point USA whooped the Super Bowl. No, they didn't whoop the Super Bowl. They did good for their platform. They did extremely well for their platform.
And it should be expected that they don't beat the Super Bowl, though. This notion, this narrative that people went and said, like, well, Turning Point USA's didn't do as good as the Super Bowl. Like, no shit, Sherlock. No one was expecting it. Honestly, if it did, let's say in a world it did do better, that would look bad on the Super Bowl. That would look bad on the Super Bowl if it did better. That's not a W or nor an L. That's just really disingenuous. Yes, unless you were literally so retarded, you would know going in it's not going to have as many viewers. But that's not the point, though. The point is because I know the average person is not smart. The point is to grow it every year. It's never going to do it, but eventually it will get bigger and bigger. There's going to be years where it goes down. Obviously, this is how this kind of thing works. But the fact that there is an alternative and the fact that this many people are talking about it, yeah, that's kind of what the problem is. They're not serving you entertainment you like at that moment in time. I'm going somewhere else. Hasn't that been this level of media landscape for a long time? You're not serving me what I want. I'm going somewhere else. And the viewer just went. Like, this is all like the equivalent of, like, people use that notion of like, why is someone going to watch someone play a game and then play it itself? Well, you're not entertaining me the way I want to be entertained. I'm just going to go somewhere else. This is just the basic equivalency of that. But Joe, what did you want to say?
No, the one thing I heard, I didn't see this confirmed, but I thought that TPUSA got 5 million viewers for their.
I saw that too.
That's what I
think it was 5 million on the Turning Point USA channel, and then I think it was like another.
It's like 1 million on Rumble,
3 or 4 on the Charlie Kirk channel.
That's crazy.
So I mean, when you add all that up, now what they're doing also though is they're also adding in the social media views. The question is, are those views where they were watching the full halftime show, or are we talking that they were watching like a clip of it or whatnot? Because that type of stuff counts as a view too. So I'm curious to see what the actual number is. But you know what? 5 million views, even if it was just on that one channel, that's a good thing for them. And if they can do it again next year, which they say they're going to, with a year preparation instead of just a couple of months, then if they can get 7 million views on the main channel next year, even better. And then 10 the following year.
Imagine if they have Carrie Underwood next year, because remember, Carrie Underwood performed at Trump's inauguration.
Yeah, with more time to actually put an artist lineup together, they might be able to do something even more that, again, it's not going to rival the Super Bowl. Because I don't know if you actually watched any of it, but it's a smaller venue. It's got a small audience there. It's not going to be the same type of thing, but it still was good for them. And that's cool that they had an alternative.
So I want to look something up real quick. I just want to.
You're good.
Do you guys remember the TV show, the skit comedy show In Living Color?
Yes.
Yeah.
Great
they
show.
Were, I'm not even gonna look up the year, but they did a halftime show. I can't remember the year, but they did a Super Bowl halftime show. It was live with their sketch comedy, and they had a tick. As I watched it, they had a ticker come up. to let you know when to go back to the Super Bowl. And it took 20 million viewers away from the Super Bowl halftime. And after that is when they got Michael Jackson to come in and do the big show. That's when they started having the big productions because they didn't want more people coming in and taking away their viewers like that. I thought that was interesting. I never really knew that, but I was watching a video on In Living Color, the show on a YouTube channel called Remember When. And they talked about how that changed how the NFL looked at their halftime show. Because before they used to have marching bands and stuff, and it was never interesting. And they used to go to the studio and talk to the analysis guys and the announcers and stuff. So that was pretty interesting that one show took 20 million viewers away from the Super Bowl. I was like, that was pretty impressive. But then again, they got us the good halftime shows. They got us Michael Jackson and Paul McCartney and U2. Mm-hmm. So I think that was pretty wise of them because Fox was, Fox Network had In Living Color on there, was just openly trying to take viewers away, and it worked for that, at least that 1 year. So we'll see what TPUSA can do. I mean, I'm not sure how many more they're going to take or how it's going to grow. It got a lot of backlash. Like there's a guy, I'm Facebook friends with him, and the only reason I know him, we're in a Facebook group together. And his big comment was, I'm just going to say it. If you're watching the TPUSA show, you're a racist. And it was like, all right, dude, calm down. All right, let's just relax.
These people just get off on power trips in these Facebook groups because they're thinking they're talking for everybody. Yeah. They're just talking for themselves.
Well, he said that on his individual page. I didn't go in the group because he friended me like a few months ago. That's the only way I know him is through this group. And he posts all kinds of stuff. He's real anti-Trump and everything's Trump sucks, Trump this, Trump that.
Yeah.
And then, during the game, I flipped open Facebook and it said, I'm just going to say it. If you're watch the TPUSA, you're a racist. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. I was like, does it bother you people that much? Like, who cares? Like, I don't know.
Because wouldn't that be their argument? Yeah. Their argument is, well, if you don't like Bad Bunny, you can go somewhere else. Actually, what I was told is I can just change. I don't know who changes the channel like that anymore because that's not how. I mean, some people have cable, but like this notion that I was told, and I was on Twitter, I was on Facebook, all these places. What I was told is, if you don't like Bad Bunny, you can just change the channel and watch something else. Well, you know what? A lot of people did. Why can't that argument work in reverse too? And if I go, hey, I don't want to watch this guy. I'll be honest here, no straight dude watches a man dance like that in a dress. Just saying, you're not straight if you do that. Just pointing out, people's MSK, you shitted on metal bands. Actually, no. No. That was just their style of me. That's just their clothing. They're not dancing in the dress. They're wearing like eyeliner. I would kind of call that gay too. But like, I would say their music was a lot better than whatever the hell Bad Bunny was doing. But no straight dude watches the gay. He's like a gay Mexican dancing in front. Like, oh god, that was just so cringe. But I don't understand why the notion can't work in reverse. Why why would you have a problem if I did what you told me? I'm doing what you said. I don't like it. I'm leaving. I'll come back.
Doesn't that remind you? I'm sorry to interrupt, but
no, you're good.
Do you know that reminds me of all these movies that come out and they kind of replace the male characters with female characters and they do the whole Mary Sue thing. And all you hear is, well, this wasn't made for you white guys, you white 40-year-olds. That's all you hear. Or this wasn't made for men, or, don't watch it. And blah, blah, blah.
Males. Yeah.
And this wasn't made, wasn't made for, for straight white men. Then when the movie bombs, they blame it on straight white men for not watching it. And you're like, well, wait a minute, you told me not to watch it. Like, what?
Yeah.
Because like the Marvels bombed, financially. I mean, whether you like the movie or not, it financially was a disaster.
Right.
But who got the blame? Men.
Even though straight white men are the ones that came to white men made up the majority of people that watched that movie. Yeah. And I think was white, Mexican, and blacks than Asians made up for that. What's crazy is women said this isn't a movie for men. They didn't go and watch that. It's all just
because they have no interest in it.
It's just virtue signaling. Because keep in mind, apparently we get all the blame, but then if we do exactly what a person says, then it's also our fault too. I don't even know how that even works. Yeah,
one of the groups I'm in, they blamed. Well, it's because the incels didn't go see the Marvels. It's their fault. It's their fault. And all I said was, Well, I saw the movie. I thought it was okay. I mean, I didn't think it was great, but I think it was terrible.
Right.
I mean, I enjoyed it, watched it. Actually, when it came on Disney Plus, I watched it one more time because I like to watch everything twice. And
Hmm.
I thought it was all right. I mean, it didn't, I'm
Hmm.
not going to really revisit it. I don't think about it a lot. But I put, in this comment, we're having discussion. I said, well, you're blaming men, but if women, or you're blaming white men, they literally came out and said it was white men's fault that movie bombed. And I said, well, you're blaming white men, but if there was a Muslim woman, if Muslims would have supported it, if there's a black woman, if black people would have supported it, there's women make up more than 50% of the population. If just the women supported it, it'd been a hit. So why is it like the white guy's fault? And
Yeah.
they complain about it. They complain. Okay, well, so what? So you're saying that these white men have this huge influence on minorities and women that they're going to make them not go see a movie? No,
Yeah.
it. I don't know, and it's so frustrating because it's that same tired argument. I know there's a lot of haters who just hate it, just
Right.
because. I've watched a lot of YouTube channels. People just hate it or were hating it before it came out, and I'm not like that. I don't like to chat. I try not to
I always
judge
have my
beforehand.
reservations, but I usually try to
Yeah.
watch the thing and then give you what I thought of the product,
Well, they got to earn your trust. Like Marvel had my trust all the way through Endgame and a few movies after, but then things started getting kind of sloppy and out of control, and some of the TV shows weren't that great.
Yeah.
So now I don't go into a Marvel movie or project thinking it's going to be great. I think it could be good.
Mhm.
And I think, well, it could be bad. So
Yeah.
now I'm more 50-50 on it, where before, from Iron Man 1 to Endgame, everything that came out, I was like, I'm going to see it. I'm excited. I got there the first day. Now I'm like, well, there's things. I mean, I'm excited to watch them, but I'm not as excited. It's because I had to sit through Secret Invasion and
And then at some point you went, you
and
know what?
Quantumania, which was terrible.
Yeah,
So,
and at some point, a lot of people went like that. They got me, and then you know what? That movie for a franchise you'd probably watch opening Thursday night. Nah, I can watch that on a $5 Tuesday. Yeah, that's bad. That's bad when a lot of your fan base does that. If like 20 people do that, or 30 or 100 people, that doesn't matter. But when
oh yeah,
you're
well,
swinging into millions of territory, yeah, that's bad. That's actually not good at all.
Well, when we messaged the other day, we were talking about what we could talk about. We talked about possibly talking about Doomsday. And I've been trying to think in my head how that movie is going to do. And the reason being is because when Marvel really took off and got hot, it was a cultural phenomenon. Everybody I knew who never read comics, didn't even know half these characters were seeing the movies.
They were.
A lot of my family members, my friends, people at my church were going. I mean, and it was so many people. And now I can think of 2 people I know that go to see every one of those movies now. And I know a couple of people that watched them all before at the theater or just go, well, I'm going to wait for Disney Plus. And they still watch them, but only when they get into Disney Plus. And I know a whole bunch of people who don't even go. They're just like, once Endgame is done, I'm done. So when Doomsday comes out, we already saw the multiverse cameo fest with Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, and Deadpool. So is that going to have a lot of allure? I mean, you're going to see a lot of new X-Men we haven't seen. Is that going to bring people in? I don't know. I'm not concerned, but I'm really curious on how that movie is going to do, because
I think for Doomsday, I think it's going to have to really suck for it not to at least make $1 billion. Like I think the word of mouth is going to have to be so bad on that for it not to make $1 billion. Because I do think I get what you're saying, Joe, about like all the cameo fest and whatnot. Like because it feels like the novelty of that is kind of worn off with Deadpool and Wolverine and with with Spider-Man and Multiverse of Madness. Like they've already done that. Will it work again? I think at the end of the day, it probably will. But I don't think this is like a $2 billion movie like Infinity War or anything like that. But as long as it's decent, I think it still makes $1 billion. Because I think there's going to be enough people that be like, okay, yeah, let's go see the new Avengers movie. But yeah, if it's really that bad, then yeah, this could be a colossal failure.
I think it's going to open strong, but you're going to see how week 2, 3, and 4 go. If it has legs, it'll do well, and it should make $1 billion. But a movie like that should make $2 billion with everybody in it, and what and
when you're factoring in what budget and marketing.
Yeah.
I think this will potentially, because like most of the Avengers movies, I think counting with even like the first one, aren't they some of the most expensive movies ever made? I'm pretty sure they are. Like just for the budget
the
and marketing
Endgame
alone.
and
Yeah,
Infinity War probably 300.
and they haven't even
400
revealed
million.
Doomsday's budget yet.
Well,
Doomsday's
it's got to
budget,
be at
it's gotta
least
be like
500 million with all the people they got in that thing and how much.
yeah.
And Robert Downey Jr. is getting $100 million to be in 2 movies.
Yeah,
So
the
that's
budget's not
$50 million
revealed yet.
a movie. But now they can shoot a lot together and they can save costs. I think what Disney's looking at is they're going to take these 2 movies and kind of mush the budgets together for success. But I don't think they care if they lose money. I think they're just trying to revive interest in the franchise because it's really waning.
Yeah.
And the Marvels died and they had, Kamala Khan in there, and her TV show was the least watched Marvel project.
Yeah, that's the thing too, is that this happened with a lot of their movies like Doctor Strange 2, Black Panther 2, Ant-Man 3, The Marvels. If they filmed this movie in the UK, the reason why we didn't see what they actually spent on Brave New World is because they didn't film any of that in the UK.
Yeah.
Where if you film people don't know this though, if you have a big blockbuster and you film the movie in like a different country, you get like tax credits back from filming there. Then they can show what they actually spent on. Oh my God. You guys, give me 1 sec. You guys talk for a second.
Yeah, that's public record in England. They gotta show that. So
yeah.
But yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, yeah, when it all comes down to it, I am curious to see how it's gonna play out. Like I said, I do think that it'll hit that $1 billion mark, but I agree with you with as much that they're pretty much throwing everything but the kitchen sink at this one. It should be a $2 billion movie.
And I think originally it was scheduled to come out before Spider-Man, the new Spider-Man movie.
It was, yeah.
But I actually think it's better that it's after because I think Spider-Man's going to do really well. May not do the 2 billion or whatever the other ones were doing, but Spider-Man always does well. So if they throw in a post-credit scene that can tease it and that does well, you're going to generate more excitement because Fantastic Four did what? 400, 500 million, I think.
Yeah. It was something like that. And I think Spider-Man, I do think Spider-Man's $1 billion movie. Because a lot of it has to do with it's coming off of the heels of the last one, which I mean, obviously the novelty of having all 3 Spider-Men together and all the villains really added to that. But it was a generally well-received movie.
Yeah,
and
liked it. And
I mean, I loved it. I thought it was really good. I mean, there's some problems here and there, but I really enjoyed the movie. And
I thought it was fun.
Yeah, so I think that there's enough interest to see the aftermath of that I do think it makes $1 billion.
Oh, I do too, and that's going to help, I think, generate more interest in Doomsday, because I don't think Fantastic Four with that little post-credit scene got anybody excited for Doomsday. And they announced Robert Downey Jr. was almost 2 years ago now when they announced him, and I don't know. The build doesn't seem to be there for this, but it's got the bones to be a really good movie, a real successful movie. I'm going to say good. What has me worried is that they haven't really written the whole thing and they've been filming. So it's like, and then Alan Cummings, who plays Nightcrawler, did his scenes and he didn't even know he's going to be fighting in the movie. So you're like, okay. But I mean, they've done it before. I mean, they've kind of winged their way through a lot of stuff. And the Russo brothers were successful with that with Robert Downey Jr. So I think they can do it again. But we'll see. But I think it is going to help them now having Spider-Man first, because Spider-Man, a lot of people just go see Spider-Man because he's Spider-Man. And
absolutely,
if they get a good post-credit scene for the Doomsday movie, that's going to really help them.
Oh, absolutely, because I know it's not exactly the same thing, but for example, Captain Marvel was a big recipient of the success of Avengers of Infinity War. Now, I know it's not exactly the same thing because we're talking an Avengers movie going to a solo movie, but in this case, Spider-Man is a huge property. And since we haven't had that movie, that big property movie to kind of lean into the next Avengers movie, I do think Spider-Man's going to help generate some of that interest.
Yeah, Captain Marvel got the big boost from being between Infinity War and Endgame, and everybody thought that was going to be very important for either movie.
Man,
And honestly, all you had to do was watch the post credit scene to figure out
you know what's
the little
crazy about
beeper
that?
thing. That was it.
These people love Kevin Feige so much, yet they'll tell you that he lied straight to your face, and then will also simultaneously tell you to your face that he doesn't lie and he's a good person.
Yeah,
I don't get how that works. So
well, people want to believe in this, people, and I've been known to do that. Where sometimes I might feel like I overinflate a movie or something because I want to believe it so much, or I like things, or I want it to succeed. You know, it's like the last the Superman movie with James Gunn. I enjoyed it. I don't think it was great. I saw it the first time. I saw it's really good. And I went to see it on a $5 day, and I had a free popcorn coming. So I went and seen it again. I thought, oh, yeah, I did enjoy it. But the more I think about it, I'm like, well, it's on HBO Max now, and I have that. And I'm like, well, I don't really feel like watching it a third time, so I haven't really rewatched it. But
I haven't even watched it a second time. I was so disappointed in that movie. It's not that I thought it was terrible. There was actually a lot of things in it, I think, to build a universe off of. And I like the fact that it was set in a comic book universe. It's not that they took characters and dropped them into reality. They, it was a comic book world. So I really liked that about it. It's just that I was so disappointed in the movie itself.
Your expectations for Superman.
Yeah, well, that was part of it. And so some of that is my own fault.
I don't think it's
Superman
bad.
is my favorite character.
Yeah,
when it comes to comic books. So when I saw this particular movie, I was just like, I just didn't like the direction they took it.
Yeah, and I said the same thing too. I thought it was bad to have those expectations, but I don't think so. I love Superman a lot myself too. I have a lot of material for him over there. I've watched a lot of his animated movies and TV shows, live action movies and TV shows. It's a character that I do truly really love, honestly. And I want to love the Superman movie like I really love the Christopher Reeve's first one. I love that movie, yeah. I love Smallville. I love Superman and Lois. You know what I mean? Or the 2 seasons I saw of Superman and Lois, which was really good.
Yeah, I thought it actually ended very, very well. I was actually surprised at how good Superman and Lois was.
Really good, right?
I'll be honest. I did not think it was going to be good because it was carrying the same actors over from the Supergirl. And I was thinking, oh, this is going to be garbage. And then I saw, it wasn't the first trailer, but it was the second one they did. And I was like, okay, this looks like it.
Oh, yeah. You were the first one they did? It was like,
yeah, the first one I was like, okay, nah.
They had that, they tried to trick you with that Killer Oldies music. I was like, I don't know.
Well, the second one got me interested in Superman and Lois. And then when I saw the pilot, I was like, okay, this is something different. I kind of like this. And I thought the show, yeah, sure, it had some low moments like every show does, but I thought for the most part, it did a pretty good job of hitting on all cylinders for the most part.
Yeah, I'll be honest here. Superman and Lois to me has, because it's hard to compare a TV show to a movie. If you ask me to pick which one I'm going to rewatch more, I'll watch any season of Superman and Lois that I saw over James Gunn's Superman movie. And it's not to say that his movie was like one of the worst comic book movies ever made. It's one of those where a Superman movie, in my opinion, should never be in that position where it's just really forgettable if you don't think about it. Like, I don't like Superman Returns because Superman Returns did absolutely most retarded things to make me hate it, right? So like Man of Steel did the same thing. Like Man of Steel did another thing where it's like, you know what? I don't like a lot of these creative choices, but there are some scenes in there that do stick in my head a lot longer. Like the more you think, you're like, okay, you know what? I don't like this. I don't really like the entirety of the movie. I want to like decisions he made, but there are some scenes in them that really stick in your brain, like memorable moments, right? I'm not saying just because you have memorable moments makes a good movie, right? But in James Gunn's Superman movie, it's like it has some decent moments in there, but I shouldn't. I don't know if this is a right perception to have. I want to love the Superman movie, but I don't really feel like I got a loving Superman movie. I feel like there's aspects to it that are good. There's aspects to it, but I feel like Tyler Hoechlin in Superman was just way better. I feel like Superman and Lois is just a much better version of what that Superman should be. Now, keep in mind, he's older, he has kids, that's kind of the premise of the story, but the Superman movie, I feel like its issues weigh it down more than the positives do. And when you hear James Gunn talk about like, okay, I don't really the decision making around making Jor-El the way he was. I'm not saying that Jor-El's never been like that comic book wise. I'm saying the decision to make him like that didn't really sound like it was a decision made in anything of like, this is actually makes sense. It's all just do this because it makes sense. Kind of like he's just trying to be different, you know?
Also, subvert expectations.
Also, Grant Morrison talked about this a lot too. It's so cringe that a lot of people do this where, you know what, even if they agree with you, they'll purposely, disingenuously not agree with you because they don't find you credible. Grant Morrison said the same shit we did here. A big complaint about the Superman movie I have is he's just too weak. And I know I knew James Gunn was going to do it.
Kicked all the time.
And I knew he was going to do it because James Gunn said he wasn't going to be powerful. I was like, well, fuck it, right? That's not a big L. I believe you can have Superman as powerful as you want and you can make it work. I.e., I know a lot of people like this movie, Superman versus the Elite. He's really powerful in that movie. Does that movie work? It does because a lot of you like it. So this notion that you have to have Superman weak because people are just, that's so weird. Why do I have to dumb down Superman because your brain can't comprehend? You're watching a comic book movie where a baby quite literally fell out of the sky from a planet that was blowing up. Because your brain can't comprehend that. I'm not dumbing down my Superman, which is what a lot of people shouldn't do. But Grant Morrison had said he didn't like the Superman was getting beat up the whole movie. I don't like that either. It's Superman. People, why write something where he's not powerful? It's just stupid. Even if you like the movie, people kind of like Superman because he's really powerful. Even people say you don't, because keep in mind, if he's really overpowered, he can have these great moments where he shows up his strength. He doesn't get to do that in his own movie. That's the big problem. It's like the people that say they don't like Superman because he's overpowered will simultaneously love if he does some crazy shit that's super overpowered, right? I'll use Thor, for example. When Thor dropped in Infinity War and Stormbreaker's knocking out all those aliens in Wakanda, is Thor not overpowered? Why do these things not work for DC characters? Superman can't be overpowered because apparently a movie can't work. But you could do a movie about Thor, who's also not as powerful, obviously, but he's really strong. Thor's a really strong character. Not the way the MCU watered down, but Thor's a really strong character. They've made 4 movies about a god, literal god. You're telling me you can't make Superman powerful? All that is bullshit. What people really want, I'll translate retard speak for you. This is what they really mean. What they mean is they don't want a character just kind of one-shotting people, but that's never going to happen anyway because you would never have a movie. Why can Superman and Lois work when he's that powerful, but James Gunn's Superman can't? The Superman and Lois Superman is really powerful. Like, quite literally, the son tried shooting heat vision into his dad's hand, and he wasn't even fazed by it. Like, I don't get why we have to dumb down our characters because average people go, "Oh, he's boring. He's not relatable." Well, okay. Oh, you know what's not relatable? Goku. None of you are Japanese. None of you are aliens from another planet. None of you can go Super Saiyan. Why is Goku relatable to you then? It's so crazy. None of that makes logical sense when people keep saying these things. Or let's use one notion. It's a narrative. You can't use Superman's Boy Scout personality. It doesn't work. True optimism can't work. Do you know how I know that's bullshit? You like Captain America from the MCU, who's optimistic. Why can't that not work? It's all dependent on how it's written. If it's written actually competently well, it can work. There's no way you can tell me Captain America's personality can work like that and Superman's can't. That's fucking retarded. It's actually stupid if you actually logically think about it. But keep in mind, I'm a genius, 200 IQ. A lot of you guys out there are, morons, actually, Well,
Superman is a hopeful character. And James Gunn, I don't think was the right guy to make that movie because he starts out with him getting beat up. Then he gets beat up again. The whole crypto attack on Lex was just silly. Having Lex cry didn't make a lot of sense. And then Superman's speech to Lex at the end, he's like, well, I get scared. And Superman's a little more stoic. So I think that could have been changed. But when you look at Christopher Reeve's Superman, he didn't really fight anybody because there was really no one on his level till the second movie. Mm-hmm. But what was good about him is you get introduced to Superman. He's heroic. He gives hope. People like him. And I'm really getting sick of that stupid trope where this hero comes along and everyone hates him for some reason or fears him and they got to whatever. But it was hopeful. People liked him. Everybody aspired to be like him. And he was this beacon of light. And then he was outsmarted by Lex Luthor and he got the kryptonite, which weakened him. So after you build this guy up and as the viewer, you're like, I like this guy. I'm rooting for him. Oh my gosh, there's this thing that can kill him. Even though there's nothing on earth that really can kill him but this or even hurt him really. And then you really feel for him because he's dying because he's got the kryptonite
right.
And he's in that pool and that, he gets saved and all. But that's what was missing from James Gunn. Like James Gunn, you start out and he's laying in the snow bleeding. And he just got his butt kicked 3 minutes ago or whatever he said, that stupid thing. It's like, and okay, well then later on he gets his butt kicked again. He does come back and beat him, but okay, he's losing again, and he needs help. If he would have started him off as a strong character, and then you see him get beat by Ultraman, and I can't think of her name, the changeling nanite woman.
Oh, the engineer.
Yeah, the engineer. Then you'd say, oh my gosh, because here's this guy who's so powerful, and I like him so much. And now he's getting his butt kicked, and he can, you don't think, no, he's going to die because he's Superman, but you have that fear. And instead, oh, look, he's beaten up. Oh, he's beaten up again. Oh,
he didn't win a single fight. He didn't win a single fight in his own movie without help. And keep in mind, that means he gets no actual wins without help, which is like, okay, that's not just weak. That's just like nothing, honestly.
Now that I talk about the movie more, I'm thinking I'm liking it less because you're seeing it drive me nuts. It's like, I liked Crypto being a little goofy and stuff, but when he attacked Lex at the end, that was just supposed to be a funny jump scare thingy. Not really a scare, but like a surprise. You laugh. Oh, he's got Lex. He's throwing him around, which he really should have killed Lex. Because it said earlier in the movie that they were worried about him killing cows, and cows are tough, and he should have killed Lex when he's throwing around like that.
Yeah, and keep in mind, I think there are aspects to like about the movie, but it's just the aspects to like and the aspects to dislike are just kind of even, so it just makes it a mixed bag. Like I said before, I wouldn't really call it an awful movie, but I would kind of call it like a mixed bag. It's got a lot of good and it's got a lot of bad. That for me personally, that makes it like a mixed bag, because there is stuff I want to like here. Another problem I have with it is like, what was it about? Oh, Crypto. Yeah, I just don't like the dog. Yeah, fucking.
I didn't mind that as much. I think they should have toned him down a little bit.
Yeah,
he was a little too much. But I mean, one thing they did well, I think the casting was perfect. And I wish the movie was longer, because I would have liked to see more at the Daily Planet. I thought Jimmy was cast well, but him being like a stud was kind of weird. Like, Jimmy Olsen's kind of this dorky guy.
At least he was ginger. At least we got that was our trade-off.
You know, like Cat Grant was good, but we didn't get to see much.
He could have been a BLM activist.
Yeah. The Perry White, I can't think of the gentleman's name who played him, but I like him as an actor, and he would have been great, but they didn't really focus much on the Daily Planet, which I wish the movie was another half hour longer and we could have seen more of that. And we didn't really see Superman be Clark. What made Christopher Reeve so great, he was an amazing Clark and an amazing Superman. And while I think, oh my gosh, my brain never works. The guy who played Superman in the new movie.
Cornsweat, yeah.
Cornsweat, thank you. I'm getting old, man. The brain's starting to go to putty.
I know how you feel.
But I thought he was cast well, and he was really good, and I thought he could play a good Clark. But, we saw him with his family. We just saw him in the Daily Planet once, I think. And it was like, yeah. And I thought Mr. Terrific was a great casting. I thought
another thing I would have preferred is we don't really get to see a lot of his adopted parents enough. Like in most TV shows, like animated movies, TV shows, live action movies, TV shows, you get a feel of what his actual adopted parents are like. I think this is the first Superman movie I've watched where there's one scene with his adopted Ma and Pa Kent.
They have a little bit, because they call him on the phone and they act like they don't know how to use a cell phone. I mean, they made him into rubes. I mean, my dad's going to be 85, and he uses a cell phone easily.
Yeah.
And then when he got beat up, he went home and they nursed him, and then Lois was there, but that was about it. But yeah, they overdid the rudeness, and they're like, hey, Clark, how am I going to use the phone here? This is confusing me. Can you hear me? And it's like, oh gosh. I mean, they're not that stupid. They're actually, if you ever read the comics or watch all their other interpretations, they're smart.
This is another problem with the Superman movie too. Mr. Terrific is a standout. The actor and character did an awesome job. Why is that in the Superman movie, the standout is not Superman himself?
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm just pointing out, the standout of a Superman movie is Mr. Terrific. I think the Justice Gang is a cool idea that that was another red flag I had going into the movie too, is like, you can make this work, but there needs to be a balance of it. And I feel like the amount that we got of them just didn't really convince me enough they needed to actually be in the movie at all, really. Like, you could have just had Mr. Terrific and the Green Lantern. That was it. You didn't really need Hot Girl Laws. You didn't really do anything to warrant being there, honestly.
Yeah, she just killed a guy and screamed. I mean,
yeah, like in there was this Tomorrow vs Superman movie that came out that was actually really, really good. It's called Superman Man of Tomorrow. It's an animated movie that came out like 5 years ago. That only had Martian Manhunter in it. It worked perfectly fine because the theme of the movie was, hey, this guy who got turned into Parasite is not the actual alien. I'm the alien that's been here the whole time. So that theme works. But I just think, was it a decent outing for a first movie for the universe? Technically, yes. Technically, no. I don't know. It just depends on who you ask, honestly. I don't believe it was a resounding success. I don't believe that. I think it was.
I don't think it was a good launch. I'm sorry, Bob. We're kind of dominating the conversation.
No, you're good.
Do you think it was a good launch? Because I don't think it was that great of a launch for the universe.
Like I said, I was very disappointed in Superman, and that actually killed a lot of my interest for Supergirl coming up. For me, what's going to make it or break it for me, whether I'm going to really be interested in this universe going forward or not, is going to be how Lanterns does. If Lanterns is good, then I'll be
wait a minute
more excited. But
Bob is saying this universe is already circling the drain, and we've had three projects: Creature Commandos, Superman, and
but you see, I actually liked Creature Commandos. That was the thing.
I thought that was pretty good.
It's funny because like I've had this discussion with my two co-hosts on Dad's Turn to Talk, and one of the things that one of them says is like, yeah, but you knew James Gunn was doing this. You know the type of movies that he makes. And I said, exactly. But certain directors know when they have to pull back on their usual traits for certain. They have to pull back on certain movies. Like Creature Commandos, I thought that style of humor and stuff that he does works well with that. I think it worked well with Guardians. I thought it worked well with his Suicide Squad. But I was not a big fan of it for Superman. And so that kills a lot of my interest. So I don't want to say it's been a complete disaster because a lot of people did like Superman. It's just for me personally, I didn't particularly like it. I was disappointed in it. For me personally, what's going to get me excited about it is what Lanterns does.
Yeah, for me, I don't want to say this because I mean, to be fair, I've talked about false equivalencies in conversations. I know this is not exactly a one-to-one comparison. I just hope this universe doesn't go the way of that Sony Spider-Man universe they canceled last year. And I know they're not exactly the same because that was already a disaster, essentially after the first Venom movie anyway. And even before that, you could go, okay, this was probably not going to work. Because if you're going off just box office success, this Superman movie that just came out last year, let's be honest here, that didn't have that. I mean, it didn't flop. It didn't flop, but it didn't perform as well as I would imagine Warner Brothers wanted to. And all these weird chill accounts were like, "Oh, it performed really good." Yeah, it sure did. You spend $300 million and it made $600 million. Yeah, that doesn't really fly in from these people's perspectives. Come on, it's like a billionaire and a poor person's perspective. Making $600 million is fine. You know, I invested $300 million into that. Oh, but that's fine, dude. You're happy with that. I don't get that much money. I gotta pay the theaters 50%, bro. Oh, but like, dude, you get $400 million. I gotta. What are you talking about? That's not
advertising and everything else. Then
it's going to show you the average poor person's mindset with money versus like a rich person's mindset. Like the other BVS, Warner Brothers, we can tell was not happy making 868 with BVS. Now, keep in mind the amount of money you get versus your expectations, like Bob has said, and you have said, sometimes cannot exist in the same reality, but your expectations are, I'm spending this much money. I'm investing this much money. I want this much back. And come on, these guys, this is hundreds of millions of dollars. You're going to tell me with a straight face they're happy with getting 616? They're not.
Here's the thing. I think I do think there's some other things that play into it. I know Gray has talked about it, saying that the VOD numbers and all of that stuff. Yeah, yeah. I think that stuff plays into it also. But I'm very sure they're not happy with the 616. I do think that they wanted more for that. Now, it doesn't mean that it's not a success because, like you said, maybe this is a case in which, like maybe they got people talking about it and they started generating some positive buzz and it just didn't happen to do as well at the theaters. But after the fact, it started generating that buzz. But I don't think that was the case with this Superman movie. I think that the buzz coming out of it was the same as it was going into it.
Yeah.
I don't think that this really moved the needle. Now, I think that maybe if Supergirl does well and Lanterns does well, then that could help the next Superman movie really take off. But also, you got to keep in mind that the comic book movie the comic book genre just doesn't have the steam that it used to have, and theaters themselves just don't have the steam that they used to have. So you have to have a big event movie to get people out there. And unfortunately, this Superman movie did not have that word of mouth to get people out there.
And I know people are comparing Superman to Fantastic Four because Fantastic Four was the only one of the MCU movies last year that was released that did somewhat moderately. Well, I wouldn't say well for what I would always say, as you guys know, but it did about the amount of money that I think all comic book movies peak are going to make. I think at this point now, if you release a movie like Fantastic Four, even if it's a known type of character, I think you're getting $300 million to $500 million max. That is your mid, and that is your max. Venom came out the year before. That only made the third Venom movie. That only made like 484. Yeah. So I guess comic book movies lowest are only going to be making like $300 million or $500 million. So when people keep saying, well, I thought Fantastic Four is just a much better movie, you're asking me personally. But for people to bring up this fact, well, Superman made like $100 million more. What? That doesn't mean anything. That actually means nothing.
A much bigger character. I mean, he's an icon.
Superman's a much bigger character, so him getting 616 is not good. Also, to bring up what you guys had said earlier, the isolation of success happens in a lot of movies too. So, like, okay, Superman does 616. So, in Warner Brothers' minds, our executive minds, or the fans' minds, I don't know why that would translate to Supergirl, though. That's what happened when it comes to Sony. That's why their movies failed. They thought that Venom's success was going to be all the other movies' success. No. Keep in mind, as we've mentioned, theater landscape is different. Superman's success could just be Superman's success, and that is also with a massive asterisk to that, too. Supergirl quite literally could come out and only make $300 million.
I think it could do less.
I don't know where. I don't know. Like I agree.
People are excited for Lobo, but I don't know how many people are excited for Supergirl.
Yeah, and that's
I mean, I am. I love the character.
I like Lobo a lot too. Yeah,
but I mean, I love Supergirl. I used to collect her comics back in the 70s and 80s, and I had a bunch of her appearances, and I thought she was a great character. But how many people are really talking about Supergirl? The Lobo was the big one on the trailer, the teaser, whatever they call that. Because it was Jason Momoa, and he's got some pull. I mean, if he goes shirtless, they might do $1 billion like he did with Aquaman. And all the ladies going to see the movie 5 times.
You know what? If she whips out her tits, you know what?
You never know.
This guy's the limit. Keep in mind, her name is Millie Alcock. Really? Yeah. I can say she loves big cock. The jokes just write themselves, honestly. Yeah. God damn it. But no, like, that's what.
MSK, sorry to interrupt, but I got to take off, man.
Oh no, we're about to end.
Okay. I was gonna say, I got to run.
Yeah, I was gonna make this last point. That we're gonna do outros, and that's it. So, hold up. For me, I think movies should be treated as like a case by case basis now. I just don't know where the mindset comes with that. So, actually, it'll work like this. I'll just wrap this up really quickly. So, if Superman's success translates to Supergirl, that means Supergirl would have to do like $700 million. We don't think that's possible. I don't think it's possible, right? I just think Supergirl, like with a lot of other super movies, are going to be in their own isolation. I think Supergirl max does 350. So that means even if the logic and narrative was Superman was a nice template to start off with, and it was lightning in a bottle, and it was going to catapult the DC universe. Really? Because if the next movie makes less than half of what that one made, that means multiple things can be true. That Superman is just going to have its own type of audience and fan base because it's just Superman, and Supergirls is just that. Keep in mind, I don't know if these are like one-to-one comparisons, though. Either if Superman's success doesn't translate to Supergirl, then we know it's not flowing like that. It's just that this one is just not as interesting to people as, Superman. I just don't think Supergirl makes more than Superman. I actually think potentially Supergirl might be better written as a movie. Potentially, maybe it's done by Craig Gillespie, but who knows, honestly? That's just me throwing matches in a dark, Yeah, because like Superman does 616, Supergirl, if that does like, well, what's the narrative going to be? Was Superman not a success then, based off of if Supergirl makes less than it? Like, I think the narrative is going to be constantly shifting because the average person just wants to cope with the fact that Like, come on, you can like the Superman movie, but you can also admit it didn't make as much money. I don't know why they have to be mutually exclusive. Like, they could be different things. Everyone loves The Thing, but The Thing wasn't a financial success. That movie flopped out its ass. But I don't get why that can work for other movies, but not like the same ones, obviously. But we're gonna do outros here. Walter says, I thought Superman was fine to some extent. I was always going to be disappointed because I really wanted them to follow through with the origin vision with the Authority. Oh yeah, I think that's the movie that James Gunn canceled because he's like, script was ready to go, everything ready, but he canceled it. So I don't know. Honestly, who knows? That guy is fucking crazy. Good Lord. Just like my dad. Just like my dad. All right, we'll start with outros. Old Man Joe, do you have anything planned coming up that you would like to let the audience know about?
Well, like I said, my channel's not up yet. I'm still working on that. But other than that, nothing yet. And I'll keep you guys informed. I do have a couple of books on Amazon if you're interested. You can just look up Joseph Gray and a couple of kids' books and a book of short stories. I don't think those really do well in your genre because the short stories are about like broken-hearted romances. And then the kids' books are I get involved with the Hydrocephalus Association's fundraising efforts, and the two children's books are about twin boys, and one of them has hydrocephalus, which is water on the brain. It doesn't drain well, and it's caused all these issues. I won't go into that here, but the story is about those two boys. So there's Jake and Josh and Canceling Christmas, and Jake and Josh and the Blanket Rescue, if anybody's interested in those kind of books that deal with disabilities.
All right. Bob, anything you got planned coming up that you would like to let the audience know about?
Well, let's see. Over on my channel, I just recently put up a review of the movie Solo Mio. I actually thought that was pretty good, much better than I expected. I also
spoiled the whole movie, man.
What's that?
The trailer spoiled the whole movie.
You know, I thought it was pretty good. Well, I mean, it's a rom-com. I mean, it's so predictable as it is anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, I actually liked that movie a lot. I also, like I said, we had our 100th episode of Dad's Turn to Talk last week, so go check that out. But we do have a show tomorrow night. We'll be reviewing the film Wildcats from 1986, the one with Goldie Hawn.
Saw it in the theater.
Yeah. Well, you know, the idea was one of our viewers actually recommended that, saying that, hey, maybe we should do a retro football movie because of the Super Bowl. But we actually put that off until this week because, again, we did Raiders of the Lost Ark last week for the 100th episode. But that should be good. That'll be streaming on my channel, because we moved the show over there. So you can catch that there. And then I don't know what I'm going to review this week. We'll see what's coming up. But,
did you watch? I'm sorry to interrupt, but did you watch Wildcat yet?
Yeah, I watched it actually this morning. I woke up a little early and watched it. And it's funny because it is definitely a product of its time. But I still laughed.
I forgot Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson are in that movie.
Yeah, that was cool to see that. So yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was really cool.
For me, as you guys know, I got podcasts and game streams coming up. I'm gonna be playing League of Legends later on tonight. And then I have Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel set for the afternoon. Like I usually always play Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel in the afternoon. I have a one-on-one with Will Holland. Then I have the Cloud9 podcast with Chaz. Then I just have a lot of shows booked this week. Holy crap, my plate is full.
It's good. Good to be busy, man.
I'm going to be streaming every day, all the time.
Bob, your channel was Dad's. What was the Dad's?
Well, okay. Well, my main channel is just search Bob Loves Movies. It's the easiest way to find it. That's where we stream Dad's Turn to Talk. We have a Dad's Turn to Talk channel though, and we're actually using that for clips of the show. It's also going to become the home of another stream. We just are in the process of getting that one worked out. But we moved it over to my channel because my channel was already monetized, and we wanted to get more, and we wanted to get more eyes on the show.
I'll definitely give it a check. I'll definitely check it out. Give it a listen.
Yeah, come check it out and let us know what you think.
Can I give you a recommendation for an old school movie that is definitely dated and would never get made? Sure. Soul Man with C. Thomas Howell.
Which one?
Soul Man.
Soul Man.
It's a movie where C. Thomas Howell wants to get into college, and to get a scholarship, he has to be black.
Oh yes, I've seen it. Okay, I know which one you're talking about.
James
I
Earl
have not
Jones
seen it since I was a teenager, though.
Yeah, before you watch it, or even after, Google what James Earl Jones has to say about that. He talks about kind of how insensitive it can be, but it's kind of necessary. You gotta read it. But
All right, I will.
was just thinking about that movie because I read something about James Earl Jones, and that comment came up, which made me think about that movie again because I saw that one in the theater too. And Ray Dawn Chon's in it. She's absolutely beautiful. So that was cool.
All right. Thanks for the tip.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just want to say thank you to every single person that came by and watched the show. Milk Shows, Walter, WZ, Emily, Gray was also here, I think, as well. Yeah, we're short and quick to the point, but I got to go and create more quality content for everyone. So that's how it works around here.
Thanks for having me on again. I appreciate it.
Anytime. So yeah,
Nice
thank you guys.
Nice meeting you too, man.
Good Lord, what the heck? My wife is calling me for sex. No, it's not happening. I'm just allergic.
Wait, she's calling me too. What's going on?
She's for everyone.
So that's why my phone's ringing.
So thank you guys for coming by and checking out this episode of the MSK Show. We'll see you guys later.